Good morning and welcome back to Ecocentric. I made another set of intro and outro files, so that'd be nice to get some comments on what you think of those. Today I have a special set of seeds to plant. This package cost $25 to come from Pottstown, Pennsylvania, just the other side of New York City. For a distance of about 1,882 kilometers. What's in it is 3 little packets. This packet only has 1 seed because I had to soak them overnight. I'll tell you about that in just a minute. Each packet contains 10 Jamaican blue coffee seeds. They are Coffea Arabica Nana. That is a dwarf version. If I were to buy just 1 packet, it would have cost me $25 for shipping. 3 packets, still $25 for shipping. I think at 4 packets it went up a bit. Powerbuy, what this company does, they have a Powerbuy whereby if a bunch of people, they click, yeah, I want to join the Powerbuy, when they get a big enough order of seeds, they'll give everybody in that Powerbuy 10% off. So 10 seeds cost me $3.31, so 33 cents a seed. Then I had to pay the $25 for shipping and the taxes and that. So it ended up being, in buying the 3 packets, I got 30 seeds for just over $40, or $1.30 a seed, $1.40 a seed, somewhere around there. It is a little expensive compared to most other seeds you get, but I was happy with that. The thing is, this coffee plant, my gardener has a regular coffee plant. You can check out his video on growing coffee. But here is a close-up of the flowers and leaves of a typical coffee plant. I don't know if this is the actual variety. It is the Jamaican blue, but it may not be the miniature version. You can see here that they're planted in 2-gallon container maybe, and this fully bloomed stem here, somebody is holding it out. But you can see back here, the ones that are in those 2-gallon containers, they're flowering as well. And that's the leaves, so it's a nice leaf and a nice flower to grow as a houseplant. We have coffee, Jamaican Blue Mountain, so Coffea Arabica, Coffea Arabica Nana, grow your own coffee tree, 10 seeds. So wouldn't it be nice to grow your own coffee house plant from coffee seeds? Coffea Arabica Nana is a dwarf bush with beans that contain caffeine. The beans are dried, roasted, and ground, and then extracted with water to produce coffee. Coffea Arabica is the species of coffee bush that produces Arabica coffee, accounting for the majority of the coffee consumed in the world. This species of bush is the oldest known bush to be cultivated for coffee production. Until the beginning of the 20th century, it was virtually the only type of tree from which coffee was harvested commercially. The coffee plant is usually about a foot tall in height at the time of purchase from a nursery, but can reach a height of about 5 feet, growing 12 inches per year. If a smaller plant is preferred, the dwarf version of Coffea Arabica Nana, which is what this one is, may be purchased, which is what we offer from flower seeds. It remains much smaller and grows at a slower rate. Coffea Arabica houseplants are perennial and can be grown in a greenhouse or in the home in a sunny south window. So speaking of the sunny south window, this looks more bigger than the miniature version. This looks like the one that will grow to 5 feet, but you basically get the idea of what they look like. And you can see that it's back in the corner in about a 3-gallon pot, and with the reflection of the light there, it looks like it's probably a window just off to the side, so it doesn't have to be directly in the front of the window. The Coffea arabica plant produces star-shaped, sweetly scented white flowers, which, back to the first picture I showed you, this is your idea of a flower. So it's going to be a beautiful plant once you get these green leaves and it's flowering like this. And like I say, it's a sweetly scented flower, so it'll smell nice as well. These flowers are followed by green fruits, which change to red and then almost black as they ripen. So here's a red fruit, and it's broken open. Here's your 2 beans. See, in the tropics they can be grown outside, so this is what you have here, a plantation where they're going around collecting berries. And here's a close-up of a bunch of berries of a typical Jamaican coffee grown outside. Here's your red berries. When well grown, plants will produce fragrant white flowers when they are about 3 years old. The berries, which resemble cherries, are ripe when the color changes from green to red, and each contains 2 coffee beans. These seeds may be planted, or if you have a large crop, roasted and ground for a homegrown cup of coffee. It takes several months for the berries to ripen, and inside each ripened fruit is 2 seeds, as I said. Then when properly roasted, can be ground and made into coffee. Growing coffee plants indoors from Coffea arabica is easy. They are vigorous growers and are long-lived. Coffea arabica plants are very attractive. Just don't expect them to offer that morning of joy as the coffee plants, as well as coffee seeds, take some patience, and it could take a few years before you see many fruits on it. But right away, to start with, it makes a beautiful house plant, as you've seen. So they're perennial, and it says they can be grown in USDA zones 8 to 10. So that would make them probably hardier than a pepper plant, and they may just survive leaves and all in my sunroom, which is what I'm hoping, and to do a 4-tiered shelf, because this variety you see here says it only grows at 12 inches. So if it only grows at 12 inches, I can stack them in the sunroom 4-eye, and just have the 4 little house plants. And I'll see in the future where they grow well, because I will have extra. Maybe I'll move one around inside and see how well it grows in the interior of the house. Bloom season is mid-spring. Bloom color is white. See, environment, partial shade. As I mentioned with that the other one that's off in the corner, it's not really in front of the window. A coffee plant is actually an understory plant, you see. So you can grow it in partial shade. Soil type, well-drained soil with a pH of about 6.1 to 6.5. That's easy enough to come by. So this 12 inches, that was why I was thinking that this picture is not actually a picture of the Nana variety, but it is a picture of your Jamaican Blue, the Coffea arabica. Similar to what Luke at Michigan MI Gardener has. Now see, we can get, as you can see here, it can get really prolific in flowers. And then you have to get said flowers pollinated, of course, to get your berries. But during the summer, in most places, you can bring those outside, let nature pollinate them, and then bring them back inside. If a little duster won't do the trick. That we'll see once I get them flowering, of course. Now, planting instructions. The average person is not going to grow these from seed. They may, however, buy the plants from me, which I'm expecting that's not a possibility. So once I get them growing and I've got a little plant, if I can sell them for $10 a piece, I only got to sell 4 or 5 of them and I'll have my money back. And I have 30 seeds here, and I'm thinking I'm only going to keep 4 or 5 for myself. So I have 25 to grow. If I grow extra out to fruiting stage, then I don't know how much I'll be selling them for then. I could, well, I'll sell them for at least $20, but in which case I'd only have to sell 2 to get my money back. But they might go for $40. I don't know. The temperature, 80 to 85 Fahrenheit. Not going to happen in my house. So I've got to put them on the heat mat. Average germination time, you see, 60 to 90 days for just germination. I was reading up on growing coffee plants from seed, and some, I don't know if this variety is like that, but some coffee seeds can take up to 6 months to germinate. So that's part of the patience that you're going to have to be growing your own coffee plants from seed. Light required, yes. So no, you can't put it in deep shade, but you don't really need a bright area either. So I'm thinking anywhere in the sunroom will be bright enough. A little aloe vera plant that I moved back from out by the window in my mid-March video. It wasn't recovering back by the wall. I had to actually move it in. Now I have it up by the kitchen window, which is basically shade all the time. Like I say, the sunroom should be bright enough for a coffee plant no matter where I put it. You sow the seeds ½ inch deep. It says 1 seed per plant, so basically 1 seed per pot is what it should be, I think. Soak the seeds overnight before planting. So I have 9 seeds in here. I've had them soaking overnight. The seeds should not be kept too moist and allowed to almost dry out between waterings. Plant spacing, 18 inches. Now when they talk about plant spacing, they're talking about putting a bunch of plants either in a large planter, or if you're in the tropics you can grow them outside. And the spacing is when they get up full grown, they'll be almost touching. So according to this, my understanding is that this variety should grow about 12 inches tall. They might grow 2 feet tall. There's going to be variation. And they'll grow about 1.5 feet wide. So you've got a little mound really that's fairly compact mound, according to what I'm understanding from reading this. My heat mat, my big heat mat I have running, it has the wicking mat over it. Keep yourself an organized boneyard as much as you can. That's what I do here. In the country it's common. People have things that they think might be useful and they keep it. And as far as plastic goes, hey, if my experiment don't work out, I can throw it in the recycling afterwards. If I throw it in the recycling right away, half of it's not going to get recycled anyway. So I have some pill bottles. Now this one bugged me because I have to get a set of pills once a month. And I said, can I bring back the old pill bottle and just get it refilled? Nope. So I've got to bring home one of these a month. I just put these little holes in the bottom so that I can fill this up with soil, and it won't be wicking up water from the wicking mat. So it'll dry out, and then I'll water them when they get dry. If I need to get the plant out afterwards, I can always melt a hole in the bottom here to poke the soil block out after the fact. And then this here is a cover off one of those big square margarine containers. So I was able to make myself a neat little tray of 9 cells, which is why I just only set out 9 seeds to soak. I took some compost, I sifted it, and I sterilized it. There should be no disease, bugs, or live seeds in this. So here's what I've done to do that. This is a mixture of compost and older soil that I sifted out through this 1/4 inch mesh here. It should be more than enough actually, and because I really want to give those seeds the best opportunity possible, I'm going to put this over in this pot. How well is that going to do? Now I've got a slurry made, and I'm going to bring that up to the kitchen stove and bring it up to a boil. Now I'm just putting the burner on medium, because I don't know how this is going to work. Actually, this is the first time I tried it, and I'll be checking it every few minutes and bring it to a boil. Let it boil for 10 or 20 minutes, and then I'll take it off. Back to check on this. Give it a stir. So I had this boiling while I was doing some other recording, and I just turned off the burner a few minutes ago and let it calm down. I'm going to bring it downstairs now to the wood stove. I have this cooling rack here, and that's what that pot is going on, so that it will have air current underneath and I don't risk any of the soil actually burning onto the pot. Now I have the pot here. Steam will escape around that lid, I assume, and when that dries out, then I have to put it in a safe place right away. I'm leaving the lid on because I don't want other stuff falling in it, and so I'll have a sterile soil mixture to plant my coffee beans in. I have to let it dry out, the water to just evaporate off rather than straining it off, because if I strain it off, of course I'm straining away all the water soluble nutrients. Now after having it on the stove for a while, I had the cover on it, I just took it off and I let it cool down. This is still, it's quite moist. I can wring some water out of it actually, but that's okay for a setting. And we'll fill up these containers now. Like I say, this should be completely sterile. I don't need to worry about having it packed down tight to the bottom, because like I say, I am not concerned about it having to wick up water. At a 1/2 inch, I'm going to go exactly by the instructions, just because I want this to give it the best possible chance of growing. So I'll mark a 1/2 inch on there. Nothing comes. Trouble is it a 1/2 inch from the bottom of the seed or the top of the seed? It really doesn't matter which side you have up, because the seed will find its way anyway. Now, I'll put them over here. And there they will sit for, well, at least a month before they sprout. So in 1 to 3 months, I'll probably come back and show you the first sprouted seed. We shall see. Speaking of sprouted seeds, this one here, that's a weed, but that's a sea buckthorn. That's a sea buckthorn. But you see, this happened last time too. I had one there come up, but it just died again. Why, I don't know. This one, this is Sunday now, so day and a half ago, I actually knocked the thermometer thing over on top of them, but I put some wet soil on him, and he doesn't seem to have died. And he's starting to get his first true leaves. See this? So I'm hoping he's okay, even though I knocked him over. And then there's one right in the back. So I have what looks to be 4 sea buckthorn alive and well there now. So that's exciting. I have a houseplant along on the way, and if I am successful in growing those, I will have some coffee houseplants available for sale for the local people. I can't mail these because Newfoundland is quarantined with respect to exporting soil. But I can sell them locally, and I don't see any reason why, if my understanding of how they're supposed to grow is correct. I don't see why I couldn't sell all of them, actually. So, hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and I shall see you in the next video.